We drove down to San Diego from Los Angeles, arriving late in the afternoon. San Diego Bay was discovered in 1542 by Juan Rodriguez Cabrillo, a Spanish navigator, and the town was named in 1602 by the Spanish explorer Sebastian Vizcaino. At the outskirts of the city, we could not help but notice the Spanish influence in the area.
As we arrived too late to visit SeaWorld that day, we stopped at the Maritime Museum. Age of Russia, an America's Cup class racing sloop, was built for the challenge in 1992, but never raced in the event. We went aboard the Star of India, which began her life in 1863, originally named Uttarp and belonging to Britain at that time. This ship is the oldest iron sailing ship in existence and is now a maritime museum. The area below the main deck seemed quite spacious and contained many displays of models and ships entrapped in bottles.
Back on the upper deck, we were witness to a demonstration of the methods sailors used to hoist the ship's spars and sails back in those old sailing days.
Avast, that means stop in sailorese. Okay, let's everybody get on the other side of your pole, so climb around, so you're going to push it in the other direction. Okay, now it'll be on 1-to-1 ratio, and it will go twice as fast around the center. That's fine, we don't need to run with it. Now, everybody usually, that'll do, man, that'll do. Okay, we can just leave it just like that for now. Everybody, all you small ones, don't go running into these. Pull those 1,500-pound pieces of wood up into the air. Now, why would we pull them up into the air? Well, for starters, they're in the down position now. Specific line, a specific rope, and quite honestly, if you were a sailor on board the ship, you would have each of those lines memorized. You wouldn't need to know which one's which by means of the little pieces of metal here with their names, and you might even find, if you were really good, that a couple of them have been moved to new pins, so they're not quite right. Know where it is. Foretopmast staysail means these black fore and aft lines, so this is a stay that attaches to the foremast, to the fore top part of the mast, foretopmast stay sail.
Yeah.
Next, we entered the lower decks and saw how the ship's crew and passengers travelled in ships of that bygone era. Some interesting crockery was on hand. A look at the navigator's room.
Taken to New Zealand because they're moving to live in New Zealand.
We looked in at the bunks, complete with dummies. By the time we left the ship, night had fallen, and the lights in the rigging made an interesting sight against the dark sky.
Next morning, we headed over to SeaWorld. As we entered, we could not miss noticing the Sky Tower ride. A 5-minute ride up the tower, which we did that night to a height of over 80 metres, afforded a magnificent view of San Diego. A small group of school children entertained nearby as we headed to the dolphin show, where the whales and dolphins performed 4 times a day. SeaWorld in San Diego in 1994 was one of 4 parks in America featuring marine life, the others being in Ohio, Texas and Florida.
The show got underway when 3 dolphins, together with their trainers on their backs, entered the main pool. From that point, the show continued with a display of acrobatic activity by these unique creatures, much to the delight of the spectators in the stands, us included.
Well, thank you. Another 3. Everyone, she's back at stage. This is Jenny. All right, one more time. We're going to give her another opportunity. Woo! It went Jenny!
One needs to be wary of being caught too close to the action if you want to stay dry.
All right.
When we're together, come on. Discover the fun. When we're together, we're not two different worlds, but one world.
The intelligence of these creatures, coupled with the way they perform for their trainers, is quite remarkable, and they seem to enjoy every minute of it.
Be careful not to be conned into asking a whale to perform, as you may well get caught in the process. The trust between trainer and creature is fascinating to watch as they move together as a complete unit. This display of acrobatics continued for quite some time, the dolphins displaying their skill and ability to work closely with their human counterparts. Finally attempting to reach a flag held high over the pool.
Flag's going a lot higher because it's high prize.
£10,000, completely up, out of water.
When the morning show in the dolphin pool was over, we headed to the Shamu show, held in a much larger pool, and watched the interaction between killer whales and their trainers. Another name for these creatures is the orca. Shamu, the killer whale, is the company mascot and the star attraction at SeaWorld. The geographical distribution of these creatures in the wild determines to a large extent the size to which they grow. In the North Atlantic, male killer whales average in length about 6.1 metres or 20 feet. Females are smaller, averaging around 5.5 metres.
There are 3-meter pods in this area, and usually they keep to themselves.
In their natural environment, these creatures hunt in pods, which may consist of as few as 5 or up to 30 in number. When two pods come together, they are known as a superpod. These 3 whales here demonstrate this movement together as a pod. Hunting in this way increases the yield of prey for each individual orca and ensures that none go without.
For the next half hour or so, we were treated to many acts between trainers and the orcas, which demonstrated the intelligence of these amazing cetaceans which are found in all the oceans and seas of the world. With the Shamu show over, it was time to wander through the park, have a steak at the Ranch House Grill, and then take a look at the walrus, seals and sea lions. We arrived at the shark encounter, where young sharks and an exhibition of rays, together with a variety of sea creatures and fish, were on display. The walls of the building were decorated to appear as if it were the natural environment. The walls of the pool were of glass, enabling a look at these creatures underwater as well as from above.
The manoeuvrability of hammerhead sharks, due to the rudder effect of their head, gives them a swimming advantage over the other sharks, who keep clear of them.
It's so microscopic, you can't tell it there.
Finally, we took a walk through the glass tunnel to get an underwater view of the larger sharks and coloured sponges in the aquarium.
They're doing this to scare us, I know.